Yael. Who was Yael? During the time of the judges, the Jews continually had battles to fight. The more they assimilated, the more they were attacked. Does this sound familiar? It's our pattern. One of the wars were fought by the prophetess Devorah and her army. The war was against a general named Sisera. In the heat of the battle, Sisera escaped. Where did he go? There was a group of people who had converted to Judaism still in Moshe's time. They were called Hakeni. Who were they? Yitro's father-in-law, Moshe, had converted to Judaism because he saw God's supremacy over the entire world. When the sea split, he realized that God isn't just a particular force that relates to the Jews, but a universal God who could split every ocean, every body of water in the world, and converted. He would refer to himself as Hakeni, meaning a descendant of Cain. Cain, the text tells us, saw the world as his oyster, his acquisition. He made sacrifices to God, but only of what he didn't need. Yitro took that same trait of seeing everything and exploring everything to the point where it said, and I see that God is the master of all these forces, and that was the core of his conversion. His descendants lived near Yericho, since they weren't part of any particular tribe. Sisera assumed that the Canaanites, who were Jews, probably didn't feel truly loyal to Israel and the rest of the Jewish people because they were never integrated. They never became a tribe. They were always separate. What he didn't know is that they said yes on those terms. Now, in fact, Yael's husband, taking advantage of Sisera's prejudice against the Canaanites, which Sisera would have said for the Canaanites, became a double spy. How so? He presented himself to Sisera's forces as though he was willing to spy for Israel, while in fact he was spying on behalf of Israel and letting people know what was happening in Sisera's encampments. So he wasn't home. He was with Sisera's forces. Okay, Yael was alone. Sisera took refuge in her tent. Why not? She's a Canaanite, and her husband is above suspicion. Loyal, he thought. What did Yael see when she saw Sisera? What she saw was an implacable opponent of her people. She had no doubt of who she was. She brought him into the tent, got him to sleep, gave him milk, covered him with blankets. She certainly was alone with him. This is certainly, and there may have been more, it was certainly a breach of propriety. What did she do? She then said, I'm going to do the final thing, which is she took a peg from the tent and bore it into his forehead till he died. What's this story about? What the story is about a woman named Yael who could have made choices. She could have said, and really, why am I a subgroup within a larger group? She could have seen Sisera the way so many people see a powerful person as someone who's worthy of admiration. But she broke through all of the illusions and got to truth. A fascinating thing is that she chose to kill him with a tent peg rather than a knife. No doubt she had a knife. They lived in the tent. This was because she chose not to become, in her words, a woman of war, someone who uses weapons. She would kill him, but she wouldn't put on the garments of a warrior or use the tools of war, because she saw herself as a nurturer and a builder, not as someone whose mission in life is to destroy. But sometimes destroying evil is the way of building good. She was willing to do the deed, but she wasn't willing to redefine herself as a warrior. She treasured her identity as a woman too much for that.